Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us today for our council meeting, which is the last one for the month of September. As always, if you do not have a packet that has the agenda for tonight, there may still be some in the foyer, but you can utilize the QR codes you see on the glass rotunda door and follow along with us on your electronic device. So we're going to start today with an opening prayer to be led by Pastor Mike Winfrey of Oakland Baptist Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Houston County High School Air Force Junior ROTC Cadet Miriam Agbula and Oriana Lewis Osiris. Did I get it right? All right, so if you all would please stand with us as Pastor Winfrey starts us off with the prayer.
Let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful to be here today. We thank you, Lord, that you have established government. And Lord, it is your business, really. And so, Lord, we trust you today that, God, you would guide the mayor and this council, Lord, as they do your business. We pray, Lord, for the wisdom that you can give, God, in decisions that need to be made. We pray, Lord, that they would seek you in that, and that, God, everything that's done for this city, God, would be done in order of what you're ordering. And, Lord, we thank you that you give guidance and direction, and, Lord, we are grateful for that. We thank you, Lord, that you love us and care about us, and, Lord, that you are looking down upon us and, God, are in the midst of us and are guiding our lives. And so we thank you for that. Thank you for this council and these people who serve. Ask God to minister to their needs in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Council, you stand. All right, so we're going to get some photos with the two individuals who kicked off our meeting today. Council, let's join them for our photos. All right, so now I officially call today's meeting to order. As you all recall, we slightly changed the format of our pre-council meeting and council meeting and combined them pretty much to be here in the chambers. So that's what you're experiencing are the people that usually come all the time, and we always love to see you every meeting. This is quite different than what we're used to, because we don't do the opening prayer, pledge, calling the meeting to order until after our pre-council is complete, which was inside of the conference room out here to my right. So now that you're here and we're starting it in this format, you get to be here for our work session, which used to be called our pre-council meeting that happened in the conference room. So first up, for the record, we like to have the work session items done no later than 5:30 p.m. Okay? So work session items go. Typical council meeting would start right after our pre-council meeting or 5:30. So we're still keeping that same schedule. You're just going to be sitting in your seats listening through our pre-council / work session, just to let you know. So work session items, we have 3 things listed, and work session is when council is just talking about these 3 items, having a discussion open in public. As soon as those are complete, no later than 5:30, we'll move into the other agenda items, which would start with announcements and then proclamations, awards, and presentations, okay? All right, so for the work session items, first is a discussion of the agenda. Council, are there any items on here that we need to discuss at this moment, or any things that need to be revised? I'll say right now that there is a presentation that needs to be listed here, and there's a presentation for the 14th Annual Cardiac Car Show. So we'll need to revise our agenda, adding that presentation to the list. All right, so I do want to talk about number 6 on our agenda, which is resolution for a condemnation order. This is for the sidewalk improvement project we're doing for Pleasant Hill, to allow for sidewalks to go all the way down Pleasant Hill, taking care of those issues that our communities complain about where the sidewalk is choppy. There's a portion of the area that is privately owned, so we have to have access for the right-of-way there. So we are doing this condemnation order for that. Anything else, Ed?
So this is a county-led project, but this parcel is in the city. I will point out that if you look at item 6, it's a relatively small piece. It's portion 910 square foot for a right-of-way, and then 715 only for temporary easement for construction, so that will eventually go away. There's been some difficulty locating the property owner. I think this parcel was part of a tax sale, so we are doing our due diligence. We always try to work with property owners, so if we can reach an agreement, we will, should we be able to locate the person after a running notice. But this is just for approval that if it is not possible to do it that way, we'll have authority to file the condemnation order so the project can continue.
Thank you, Attorney Mize. Anything else on number 6? All right, moving on to item number 7 is something else I'd like to discuss, just to clarify for you all to understand what it's about. The city owns a number of parcels that we own it, so we're not paying taxes on it. But our desire are to return as many of those as possible back to the tax roll, so then it can help all of our city residents with the things that we pay for. So we're adding more to our tax base by returning those properties back to the tax roll. So with this resolution will be about a master development agreement with Engage Warner Robins, which is one of the city's, one of our 3 development authorities that we have. And in this, it will allow for Engage to facilitate the sale of the parcels the city owns that we wish to return back to the tax rolls so people can build houses on them, businesses on them if it's commercial, to help out our community. And there's the agreement that Engage will receive a percentage of the sale price that is facilitated in that transaction, and the rest of the money comes back to we, the people. Anything else for number 7?
Yes, ma'am. I'd also like to add that it adds consistency to the process of how we either keep continuing to keep these properties or move them, and sell them, rent them, whatever. So I really appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you, Councilman Lawrenson. Anything else? All right, then we can move on to item B, which is a memorandum of understanding for the Warner Robins Youth Baseball Initiative Incorporated. And to speak of that, we will have our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, Mr. Preston Pooser.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You may remember several months ago, I received an email from a concerned parents group that we, about baseball and softball. They had concerns about our facilities and what they look like and that, and then how we actually program baseball and softball. You'll probably also remember where my response was pretty quick: hey, let's meet. I try to do that. I try not to go back and forth with emails and all that. So we met that next week and discussed what we were going to be doing on the Simpson Peavy ball fields, what we'd like to do out there in the future, and get those ball fields up to our standards, where the citizens of Warner Robins need those. We did talk. One of the requests was more of a year-round baseball program. You'll hear me say that we're a recreation department, not a competition department. We've got, just for what we deal with, my current staff, in baseball and softball, we had a combined 450 kids this past year. Soccer, we had 269. Football and cheer, we had a total of 600 with 367 football players and 232 cheerleaders. In basketball, we'll have 731 staff. So we really don't have staff for year-round programs, and to be able to focus, kind of like when it's baseball season, it's baseball season. When it's basketball season, it's basketball season. When it's football season, it's football season. And we don't really have the ability as a city to really expand those into more year-round and other things. So I discussed with the group that we met with the possibility of forming a nonprofit association and really helping us with baseball, if they would like to. They jumped on the chance. So we've been working back and forth with them for a couple of months now. What they would do is they would run our concession stands, they would do other programs, and they would raise money for those program enhancements that we really can't do. Maybe some travel ball, but also having like pitcher clinics in the fall when we're doing football and getting ready for basketball and all that, really enhancing our programs to bring them to the next level. For the first 2 years of the agreement, we would basically be running the programs just like we do now. They would be assisting us. In that third year, if we think they're ready, we will start turning over the reins to them where they can run it, and we will assist. So in that third year, if they're ready, we start really turning the reins over to them. I've had very strong parent associations at some of my other cities where they ran very successful baseball and softball programs, and the city acts as we're maintaining these ball fields and giving them whatever they need to produce those programs and provide the best opportunities for our youth to succeed. That's not uncommon for cities to do that. I did speak with our legal team, and she made sure we were good to go on that. just really the form of the MOU and everything. She didn't give us instruction on how to, I'll specify that, she didn't give me instruction on how to run it. She just on how to write the MOU. But really, I'm here for any questions. I do have a couple of representatives from the group if you'd like to speak to them. Okay. This will come forward in the next council meeting for a vote. But if you have any discussion you'd like to bring up tonight, yes, sir.
You mentioned maintaining ball fields.
Yes, sir.
What about uniforms and things of that nature? I mean, the full gamut.
Yes, sir. The associations that we deal with, they would charge the fees, and they would provide eventually, they would provide the uniforms, and they would virtually be running the program. But again, that's not for at least 3 years. So we're going to make sure that they are comfortable, that our citizens are comfortable. And there is a 60-day out for either of the entities, us and them, if we decide that it's just not working, or they decide, hey, it's not working.
I just thought of, excuse me, sir.
I'm sorry.
I just thought of one other thing, pardon me. In this process of turning over 3 years from now,
Yes, sir.
I want to be sure that equality, that every child in this city that wants to play ball will have the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
I want to put that on record.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And that we wouldn't have it any other way. That is our job, and that is our mission, to provide recreation services to any resident in this city. So,
And that pretty much was my question.
yes, sir.
Yeah, that was pretty much my question too. I was just gonna ask about the rates. Are we gonna still have control over the rates and things like that?
For the first 2 years, yes, but we're going to work hand in hand with it. And we've had multiple discussions with the group, and they do want to keep it very, very affordable. And then they actually wanted us to cut our rates, and I'm like, well, we can't really cut our rates because that covers our cost for like umpires, officials, scorekeepers, and everything that we do for that. So it's going to be affordable.
But just to make sure, going into that third year,
Yes, sir.
we will have an input on what the rates will be before
We have input every day. 10 years from now, we are going to have input into how the programs are ran.
Okay, good. That's what I was going to ask too, but you just clarified it. So it's not, they won't run it as a private function. It'll be
Correct.
still
Yes, ma'am.
with the city.
Yes, ma'am.
And
We working hand in hand with them. That is very similar to how we've done it in how I've done it in other cities. We're partners in providing those programs. So, yes, sir.
I've seen public-private partnerships around the state very similar to this, and I've always been jealous that they had communities that could work with the different organizations, and they all come together to benefit all the kids.
Yes, sir.
So this is really exciting. I know locally, because my kids are a lot older now, but was once very much a part of it. And, we may have, I'm just going to throw a number out there, 12 different baseball, softball organizations, pretty substantial ones operating around the community and just kind of doing their own thing willy-nilly. Will we be trying to bring these under the same umbrella? Are these possibly working together? Or are we looking for just something, a whole new organization? Or what's the idea of the volunteers?
At this point, we are, and I've had a lot of discussion with some of our parents in the group and my staff. We have reached out to Little League, and we would like to bring the franchise back for Little League and be.
Great.
One of the first things I did is when I was here, I reached out to Little League. I didn't think that I would be doing my job if I didn't reach out to Little League. There's Southeast Regions here. They have two of the biggest economic impact tournaments in this area. And I don't think that I would be doing my job if I did not reach out to them and at least look at that possibility of us joining Little League again. There will be some, with that being said, there's going to be some lumps, so we're going to take some, it's not going to be an easy process. And Little League's pretty standard, but it is that standard that everybody in the country looks at for youth baseball.
I know that like Little Leagues and other organizations like them, they have individual boards and the capacity to deal with issues and long-range planning and all that stuff. So I'm hoping that will be the same.
Yes, sir. That's the idea, that eventually they're running the programs. And of course, we are always going to have, my mic went out, so I think they're, we're always going to have a hand in it, in the operation. They are going to be on our fields. We're going to be working hand in hand. It's on. Thank you. Working hand in hand with, couldn't hear myself. I thought it went out. With them throughout the process. It is a good group of people that I think are excited about this possibility. We are, like I said, if we go into Little League, we're going to have some growing pains over the next couple of years. I know that. There's some history there, and there's going to take some time to work through those issues. But I think in the long run, it would be a good opportunity to advance youth baseball and softball.
No doubt. Thank you for reaching out and making this a possibility.
I apologize for being late, Mayor. But based on this subject matter, I think this is a great idea. I remember playing, I'm a product of the Warner Robins Little League, but we built a partnership with Robins Air Force Base. They had their own team in every age group. It would be really cool to foster that and give that, if they can develop teams in our age brackets and come play on our fields and we also play on their fields, that'd be a great partnership and a visibility across the nation.
That's a great point. I'm not sure where they currently play. So we'd have to reach out. There are boundaries, but the old
Little League used to have, I hate to interrupt, but they used to have a much more more active duty families being housed on base housing.
Right.
And back in that day is when those base leagues would thrive, and those have pretty much gone by the wayside, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And so most of those have just blended in with everybody, though there may still be some independent ones.
I think they have some small intramural leagues on the base, but if we can foster the idea to them, maybe we can revive that, and that brought money to help us maintain our facilities as well.
Yes, sir.
I agree, Mr. Mack. If we can get any of them involved, it'd be great.
Absolutely.
Because they have funds for communities in our city. We just got to tap into it.
Absolutely. We'll reach out.
So got a couple questions. Number one, are we going to enter into a contract with this nonprofit?
A memorandum of understanding is like a contract. There is a mutual out 60 days. Either group can get out. But it is a memorandum of understanding. It's not a contract, but it is agreement. Okay. Thank you.
It's a contract, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's an agreement. Yeah.
I'd like to see that contract before we vote on it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'd like you to send that out to all the council people before we vote on it, please, so we can go over it. Number two, you used the word input and partnership, which is great, but I want to know who has the ultimate authority over this. Who's going to have the ultimate say-so if we partner with them? You say we're going to have input. Are we turning over everything over to them?
I think under the agreement, it's phased out over a 1, 2, and 3 year. As Mr. Pooser has described, by year 3, this initiative nonprofit that's been organized would have more ownership. Obviously, it always will be the city's. I say ownership in the sense of maybe the day-to-day ins and outs, but in the agreement, the city has the final approval on sponsorships and fundraisers and ultimately helping with making sure we have background check volunteers and then the fields are maintained and how the fees are done. I think it's more of a partnership. I think that's the word I was looking for. So they may become a greater role in the partnership to alleviate, as Mr. Pooser has said, some of, making sure we can do it activities more often with the staff that we currently have. But what I think Mr. Pooser means and what the agreement reflects is that when it comes to final decision-making authority, that rests with the city because it still is a city program on city property. I will add that it also does require that the initiative carry and maintain a $1 million insurance policy and naming the city as additional insured. So that's an additional protection for the city in that regard. But if you do want to make amendments to the agreement, please let me know or Mr. Pooser, and we're happy to make adjustments or edits.
So I'm going to make another comment. So we begin to turn this over to a partnership, and we're going to go all the way down to who's chalking the fields, right?
No,
Who's
sir,
responsible? And I'm using this as an example,
Okay.
right? And what the city's agreement is and what their agreement is, and when we get all the way down to this, to the nitty gritty, you're talking about city employee involvement in hourly wage of chalking fields. So how's that going to be handled?
Actually, the maintenance will be done by the city. Multiple associations in my history, they run the programs. Those fields are city property, maintained by city staff, and I can't have that any other way. We are liable for anything that happens on those fields. And yes, sir.
So going into sports tourism, which I think should go after aggressively, upgrading Simpson Park, is that going to be in conflict with this organization, or are they going to be the ones pushing this?
That would be it's our priority to start going after more and more sports tourism opportunities. That was one of the things that this council asked me to go after, and we're actively doing that. We do have to do a lot of work, like you said, to Simpson and Peavy Park to get that ready. We do have to have some additional staff to be able to work those nights, weekends, holidays that those tournaments would be on. So I think it's more of a future thing for the ball fields. Right now, we're looking at options for indoor sports tourism because those are a little bit easier. Soccer's easier. Football's actually easier because you line the fields once and they're done. With baseball and softball, there's a lot of maintenance during tournaments, so we would need to bolster that crew with actually a little bit more staff to be able to do that. Groups coming in to use fields for tournaments. Typically, I would like city staff maintain those fields during tournaments because we're ultimately the ones that are responsible for those fields and their conditions.
I just want to make sure if we're headed that direction that with this organization, there's an understanding that, again, I want to see a bunch of conflicts with that, them
Right.
trying to do things on the fields, and we're trying to bring sports tourism into Warner Robins also, that'd be taken into a lot of consideration.
It absolutely would, and we would actually work with them to start hosting some of their own events that bring people in and put those individuals in the hotel rooms.
Mr. Poozer, thank you for your work on this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments about the Youth Baseball Initiative? I do want to note that the draft document for us to review is in the packet under 1B, B as in Bravo. So you can take a look and see what the responsibilities are of the group or initiative up through that third year. And I think and there may be, more areas you want to define is what I'm hearing, and we can do that. But you'll see there are more of the people that are the boots on the ground operating the program, and then the city is still overall in charge of what happens for the program. So,
Yes, sir.
yes,
Could we meet these interesting people that showed up today? Could we just meet them?
Absolutely. Jerome, could bring anybody else that would like to come up? Here.
How are you guys doing? My name is Jerome Floyd.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deandra Smith.
Any questions?
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Do you have other members already involved with you all?
Yes, we have a staff of 6 right now, and we are in collaboration with 25 coaches right now as well. So we have a full organization that's ready to move forward.
Thank you. And I have one final question for you, Mr. Poozer.
Yes, ma'am.
This is I just thought of it, but with the program we'll be doing, or we anticipate doing with the Youth Baseball Initiative, will be running any baseball programs with the city, or will all of our baseball programs be under this initiative?
All the baseball and softball programs that we do will be working with the initiative. Again, baseball time is at springtime. If we go into Little League, we are starting a little bit earlier than normal to fall into those Little League schedules. So we're going to start, you're going to hear, once it's approved, you'll hear us start kicking off a little bit more, a little bit earlier than normal. And again, this will help us because we're actually kicking it off in traditionally our basketball season. So where staff would be doing it more in the spring.
And I wasn't accurate. I do have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the final one. Could you tell us the why? Like, why did this come up? Why is this even being considered? I've heard it before, but I want to make sure council and the public get to hear the why.
Absolutely. Like I said, the group reached out to us with concerns about our baseball programs and the facilities. I did tell them what my plans are to address the issues at Simpson Peavy over the next year. And I let them know of our issues that we have. We can't do baseball in the fall because right now we've got hundreds and hundreds of kids in football. I don't have the staff. And then right after that, we've got 700 kids in basketball. So again, we're focusing on those traditional sports year-round, and staff is focusing on that to really bring it to the next level where we could have some travel teams eventually and coaches clinics and pitching clinics in the fall and a little bit more just year-round work with baseball. That's where they would come in. That would help us as a city and get baseball a little bit stronger. Baseball is becoming year-round. But recreation departments who are typically not competition departments. Most travel league baseballs are not ran by city. They're ran by parent associations. So that's where it would, I think eventually it'll help us bring baseball in Warner Robins to the next level. But if we decide to not go down that trail, we'll be getting ready for basketball, and then we'll get ready for baseball, and we'll just continue what we're doing. And we've got great numbers. I think staff has done an outstanding job over the years producing these athletic programs. But we did have this group come forward and wanting to help out and kind of take us to the next level, and I think this is how we can do it.
All right, I need someone else to ask this question. If one of you could ask, for the kid that is not great at baseball, and the parent wants them to get involved in it, learn the fundamentals, I'm going to ask Charlie to ask it. Will that kid be able to participate in the sports with this league?
Absolutely.
Or will it be all just competition in the...
No, not. I've never been involved with an organization that has turned anybody away. Little League on down. It doesn't matter. We are always here to develop, to work with, to help the young people in our community. And I've never been a part of any other organization, even outside of the city of Warner Robins, that has ever turned anybody away. And I won't work with an organization that ever turns a kid away, no matter how good they are or what's going on. You never know who's a sleeping giant. And so I'm pretty sure that there's story after story about children that probably nobody ever thought was going to develop into something, and it turned out to be a great quarterback. So, yeah, I don't want to be a part of nothing like that, Mayor. So I hope we welcome every kid into our facilities.
We absolutely will. It goes back to Michael Jordan getting cut off of his 8th grade basketball team. Derek Jeter did not show up first day of youth baseball and start hitting home runs that day. They all start somewhere. Recreation leagues all around this country. Most pro athletes, and I'm not saying this is a funnel for pro athletes, but look at football on the Saturdays. Every one of those football players, minus a 0.5%, played youth football, and they learned the game, and they learned the love of the game, and that's where we fall. That's where we come in.
So, Mayor, so as being a former coach in the rec department as well, I think what is unsaid, or maybe I missed it, is that a kid that is not as talented as the next kid, that there's some kind of written indoctrination that he has a valid opportunity to play so many innings during a particular game, regardless of what his talent level is.
And that's where we set those policies that the kid has to play so many innings.
Do we have something in writing
everybody
that
has to
mitigates
play.
that? Because coaches get out there and start winging it in the heat of the game. I lost a championship because of that.
We have
My good guy played at first and third. I couldn't put him in the fourth because that other kid had to play. But I felt good about it.
We had to address that issue a few times in our current football season. That everybody needs to play and everybody's going to play.
Derek only also got a 16 pack of crayons. He didn't get the 64 pack of crayons too, so we need to call him for that too.
Mayor, what I was going to say is what I noticed in the years that I was doing it is a lot of times kids would get into like the younger middle school ages, 11, 12, 10, 13, and you're like, oh my God, this kid is a phenomenal athlete. Why can't they play baseball? It's because they didn't have any exposure to it.
Right.
Like most of the kids on the team started when they were 5 and 4. And so that baseball takes that, it just takes, some kids pick it up quicker than others, of course, but just that early exposure, and even if it's just a yearly league play, can make a tremendous difference. And when you have volunteers, like especially parent volunteers, passion, fire, commitment, that's where your quality programs, that's where they happen. And that's where the kids in that locality absolutely benefit. And we already have great baseball teams in high school, but not all the high schools at this point. So this could really help even things out across the board. And to me, that's a really good goal to have, is to even the playing field throughout the community. And I hope that's one of the main, and I think it is one of the main intentions and focus.
Okay.
Plus, baseball players make more money than basketball and football players in the league, though.
With that, I'd like to thank you, and we'll be bringing this forward at the next council meeting.
Hey, keep moving towards the Little League too. I think that's a great goal
Yes,
too.
sir. Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
that's a good goal. Keep striving for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Puser. All right, so now we're going to the last item on our work session. And that's a tree preservation replacement and landscape standards. The two individuals who are going to be, are you briefing that, Mr. Drinker? While you're getting ready, the two individuals who will be leading up or they're the masterminds of the initiative that are present, could they come up and get a photo? Mr. Puser, can you round them up to get a photo, please? The individuals who are spearheading this baseball initiative. No, that was a request of Councilman Bibb.
While they're working on that photo, I'm going to ask Tiffany Bowen, I know you're out there somewhere, if you would come on forward for me. Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to eliminate the wait time if they have a question. Because we're behind schedule. That may actually be a good thing.
All right, Mr. Drinkard.
Yes, ma'am. So this item is the first in a few ordinance amendments that we'll be bringing forward. And this is largely in response to direction from council, inquiries you've made, and feedback from the community with respect to our development standards and development practices. And effectively, as we started looking as staff at our development codes, and especially as I did, things that in most communities you will find, things like tree preservation standards, landscape standards, lighting standards, we lack. And I think we're still doing some things in some very old ways. And so tonight, this is the first of those ordinance amendments, and it's really, we took the part that can be the least complex. Once you start getting into architectural standards, things like that, they become very complicated, very involved, and there's a lot of moving parts there that can go a lot of different ways. So we started literally at the ground level. There's a separate piece that is making its way through the Planning Commission process, and it deals with requirements for conceptual site plans. When you're rezoning a property, when you're wanting to get variances, when you're wanting to do land disturbance permits. And to kind of give you an idea, there's conceptual plan is a step. It's kind of the step between let me sketch something on a napkin and let me hire an engineer to really go out there and do a lot of measurements and dive deep into a project. But this is where you start to understand where roads are going to be, what your lot layout is going to be like, what green space you're preserving, things like that. You've seen conceptual site plans with some of the developments that have been proposed, but it's not uniformly practiced. As part of that, you put requirements in for tree preservation, landscape requirements, et cetera, which is why that was the next piece that we needed to do. So this is part of that. Basically, it deals with trying to address preventing the clear cutting of sites altogether. It identifies what specimen trees are, what species, what sizes, et cetera, we would consider a specimen tree, and why you would need to preserve it, how you would need to preserve it, and if you can't preserve it on the site, what steps you have to take for recompense. Also gets into landscape standards. Now, why is all this important? It gets into a number of things. It gets into overall development quality. It gets into mitigating heat island effects. It gets into preservation of the general aesthetic of the community and environmental preservation, stormwater, et cetera. All can be impacted by these factors. Now, the way the process will work, it goes through the public hearing process. Why do we put it through the public hearing process? Because we've started with, this is what we think works, right? And again, there's nothing in here that is highly unusual. These are common standards, common practices across the state. We've taken the pieces that we feel are the best fits for the city of Warner Robins. We've refined them to make them fit here. Are you going to hear some things along the way as we go into that public hearing process and start to get feedback? Yes, absolutely. I would just about guarantee that some of you already have. And you're going to hear the gambit. From our developers, you're going to hear the gambit. You're going to hear some that say, great, we have to do this in other places. You're going to hear others. Oh my God, if you adopt any of this, we're out of here. You're never going to see development here again. I've seen it every place I've ever been, right? There's the types of things we're talking about. We're seeing communities around us starting to enact. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't get ahead of it, if you're not part of that wave, the development that you're going to see, you're going to basically be inviting in the types of development you don't want. And we don't want that. We have good developers in the community. They're doing good things. and we want to make sure that that's supported. So I want to quickly express appreciation to our team here, and especially Tiffany Bowen. A lot of you know Tiffany as the head of Keep Warner Robins Beautiful. What you may not know is Tiffany is a certified arborist. So if somebody asks, does the city have an arborist? Why, yes, we do. And we're not utilizing her to her full extent. We want to change that. So Tiffany has been key to the development of this. I got something started pulling other staff into it, but we reached a point where we have to have technical expertise, and Tiffany helped us with that. So I want to call her out for that work, because she did an excellent job. And if you ask technical questions tonight, you're going to be hearing from Tiffany, because she's smarter than me on this. You know, some of the things that this deals with, it establishes a tree bank. If you can't replant your site to have the required number of tree inches on the site, you pay into a tree bank. What happens to that money? That money is used to put trees on land where it can go. It can be part of, you know, planting medians. It can be part of plantings in parks. It can be plantings in a number of places, but it's utilized to help reposition our tree canopy, right, so that we maintain it. And as we look at how we preserve what trees, how we use landscaping to mitigate impacts on surrounding development, mitigate impacts on streams, creeks. Look, we already know that we have streams and creeks here in the city that are impacted by development. This can help with that. So that's really what we're trying to do. It's the first step, and again, this isn't something we're voting on now, right? This is something we're putting into the public hearing process. We'd go to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission would hear that public comment, and you may see tweaks between when it goes through the Planning Commission and when it comes to you, based on the information that we hear, right? So this is not, this is the way it is, this is the only way it is, and we're, you know, but we are looking to set a higher standard for the city of Warner Robins. The community deserves it. You've asked for it. The community has asked for it, and that's what we're trying to deliver. So with that, it's a pretty detailed ordinance. So if you have questions, we'll be glad to answer those again. If they're technical, I'm going to be looking to Tiffany.
So,
My turn. My turn.
So I want to talk about trees. I want to talk about trees. Let's talk about taking a 5-acre lot and you telling a developer he can't cut down this tree. What kind of tree are you going to tell him he can't cut down?
Oh, that's a broad question. You want to take it? And do you need the ordinance up so you can reference? Okay.
Okay, so within the ordinance, we have defined things called specimen trees, which fall into several different species. Whether it's oak, they have to be a certain size. If it's tulip poplar, they have to be a certain size. They have to have things that aren't wrong with them. And this is all looked at by an arborist, because the general person isn't going to be able to look at a tree and go, oh, that tree has a fungus, or this tree has a disease. Much like the trees in Perkins Park, nobody noticed that those trees were dying for 5 years until we cut them down. Except I had tree risk assessments done on them for the last 5 years before we cut them down. So the general public just doesn't happen to notice those things. So they do have to meet guidelines to be considered a specimen tree. But the ordinance isn't saying, no, don't cut this tree down. It's saying you have to have 100 inches of diameter breast height, which is that's measured at 4.5 feet from the soil level of trees. So if you take the circumference of the tree and divide it by pi, that gives you your diameter breast height. So you can have 4 trees that are 25 inches DBH, or you can have 10 trees that are 10-inch DBH per 1 acre. You get extra credits for preserving specimen trees, versus smaller trees that we don't consider specimen trees, or a species that may be lesser because it's got a shorter lifespan. Like pine, for instance, has a lot more issues going on with it, especially in this area. We're seeing a lot more of southern pine beetle, so that's not even a tree that we're considering a specimen tree. Like Mr. Drinkard said, it is pretty detailed as far as what we're considering specimen trees, what we are wanting people to preserve, because we want this tree canopy to last not just for our generation, but the future generations to come.
And you'll find tables in the ordinance that helps to address all of that, so that you can see species and whatnot.
So I heard you say we're not using Tiffany. So are you telling me that we vote this ordinance and Tiffany's going to be the one going out to these lands and looking at trees? Is that what you're telling me?
So the way these ordinances work, right, as we have a developer proposing a particular development, they have to do a tree survey on their property, and they have to, as part of what they submit, here's all of the specimen trees on the property, here's the trees that will be removed, here's the trees that are being saved. Tiffany would be the one who reviews all of that, and Tiffany has to be the one who audits that and says, yes, they're shooting straight, no, they're not. That is the role that an arborist working for a city would play, and that is how we would expand Tiffany's role in the organization and begin to utilize her to her full capabilities.
So you're telling me she is going to go out to the sites and look at the trees?
There would be times when she is going out on site, yes, absolutely.
I got one more, because I know we're running out of time.
Question, how soon can we start utilizing Tiffany in this particular area?
So we can start, she's certified to start doing it today. So, we would adopt the ordinance and then start ramping her into that role.
I asked that question because I have a specific area.
Mm-hmm.
I call them bushes, someone else might call them trees, that's growing up in an area, a certain area. I would like to see them down.
Mm-hmm.
They've been down once, but they've come back up again. So in terms of visibility.
Okay, well, I can say a lot of what Tiffany already does with Keep Warner Robins Beautiful, she can go out and look at that now. That's totally separate from this. So we'll get with you on that, and we'll make sure she gets out there.
So I know there are people out in the public out here that have come, and I want you to take us through the process of this hitting the council's desk.
Sure. So again, it's a public hearing process. So the next step in the process is it goes to the Planning Commission. There'll be a public hearing held in front of the Planning Commission. That would be the opportunity for individuals to speak and share their thoughts. Obviously, it's already out in the public. It was part of tonight's packet. So if they have any comments, they can send those to myself. They can send those to Ms. Bowen. Of course, they can always send it to mayor and council. I would ask that if you do get those comments, you share them with us because we're looking for that. And then once it goes through Planning Commission would make a recommendation. Based on the things that we hear, we may recommend some tweaks. And so it would be the edited version that comes to mayor and council. And that would happen after the Planning Commission. And at that time, we would be asking you for a vote on the ordinance amendment.
Sir, I have a question in short. Will we be able to use this ordinance to preserve tree lines like the case in point that's on the corner of Russell and Lake Joy to create a barrier between that neighborhood? Because we did have some citizens come in and say they hate that their trees are gone, and the developer came in and just...
Yes, sir. That does get into some of that. Now, I'll put a caveat to that. Some landowners will put their property into the state's timber program, and that goes under a different set of rules. If it's in the state timber program, it falls under the state rules. This does not supersede that, so it's a very different type of program. But in terms of establishing buffers, that's actually part of this ordinance. and tree preservation is certainly part of this ordinance.
But when it comes before us, I would at least like to have that discussion and make sure that everything is in association with the current covenant of their neighboring properties.
Yes, sir. It's definitely.
I just want to consider them as development grows around them.
Yes, it's definitely part of the ordinance as drafted. The only caveat is if a piece of property is in the state timber program, and then that is something that's prescribed by the state, and we cannot supersede that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead,
This current ordinance, as it's written, would basically be hovering over both commercial and residential
Yes, sir.
equally.
Yes, sir.
I do have a bit of a problem with that because the residential side of it is a totally different world. If we went through the current, what this says, in the neighborhood I live in, which you used a photo of, there's thousands of trees out there that should have been cut down. It's a pecan orchard. The residents of the neighborhood don't know how to maintain a pecan orchard. All they know how to do is call a tree company that comes out there when they fall on their property. Any of those. Okay. When you come out, any storm, you come out there, you can load up every time.
One crushed my fence, fell in my yard.
But I would like to see some variations between, because the commercial side of it, I don't really have, I mean, honestly, what people have gotten away with strip malls and everything in this has been ridiculous. They'll plant the trees that they're required to plant. They don't run water to them. They die. They end up with sticks sticking out of the ground. The commercial side is definitely something that I'm very interested in. We need to be very careful, though, with what we place upon, burden-wise, upon our developing neighborhoods and lands that we're looking at in the future, because, I mean, quite honestly, the best thing that could happen to the neighborhood that I live in is they clear cut it.
So, Councilman, the thing that I will say is, as we work with this ordinance or any ordinance, right, we want to take not an adversarial approach, right? You know, over the years, you know, are there developers who want to come in and try to slip stuff by you and get away with things? Yes, there are some of those. And can that turn adversarial? Yes, absolutely it can. If they don't want to produce a quality development, then we may have an argument. More often than not, with good developers, you sit down and you find, how do we make this fit the exact situation that we're in? And again, as Ms. Bowen said, it's not that you can't go in and cut the tree down. It's what you do after you've cut the tree down. How do you create and place new trees on a site that may be more appropriate to what the developer is trying to do? So it's not, this isn't a binary kind of thing. More often than not, on the residential side, you have less issues with new development projects than you do with existing properties when you have a resident who has a tree that they want to take down, right? And so I think Ms. Bowen has done an excellent job in trying to balance that situation, because you don't want to have a situation where a resident, longtime resident, has a tree in their yard, it's creating some problem for them, and trying to get that tree out of the yard becomes a huge problem. She's done a very good job, actually the best I've seen across the state on that, so yet another kudos.
Yeah, and as far as input from contractors, of course, you know, I'm sure we all have received plenty of phone calls and everything, but what the overall thing that I've heard more often than not is being allowed a seat at the table to talk about the.
It's what the public hearing process is for.
Yeah. Outside of the public hearing, which, you know, those can turn to pitchforks and torches real fast and go off the rails, has there been any kind of, can we do any kind of outreach to maybe gather a few representatives that would represent the construction industry at large that's going on in the development industry in our community, have them come up with a couple of representatives and so we can have a more steady conversation?
So I have seen that tried. Typically, the only way I've seen it work is if you have an equal representation between residents and developers, right? Otherwise, you basically have the fox in the hen house, right? The other thing, and I'm going to go ahead and caution you on this, because you will have some developers who will play this game, right? As soon, and in fact, now that they know that this is coming, right? Because if they get a project submitted for permits or the public hearing process ahead of this being adopted, they're ahead of it. So you will see some developers, and it's never the ones you want, that will try to beat that, and they will try to get something rushed in here, and then you're stuck. So it's a careful balancing act. And so the way it typically works best is you leverage that public hearing process. If any developer wants to meet, we'll meet with them. If any resident wants to meet, we'll meet with them, right? Just as we would with any other public hearing process.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to railroad them on the other side either. There's two sides of that coin also, Mr. Drinkard. That we don't rush this process and cram it down their throat either.
Right.
And I understand what you're saying, and I think everybody that I've talked to knows that Warner Robins needs to change. And we're all for change. But I'm going to tell you what, we need to work together to change. And we need to listen, and we don't need to be bulldogish either.
Right.
So this outlay that we got came from Alpharetta, correct?
No, sir.
Where'd it come from? What city did we get this from?
We didn't take it from any individual city. So we looked at other communities, but this is a Warner Robins focused piece. Did we take things from numerous cities? Yes. We took things from Perry. We took things from cities in coastal areas. We took things from metro Atlanta cities. We tried to look at communities that have implemented these types of programs well, learn from them, and figure out how we can apply it here to be the best possible ordinance for Warner Robins. But this isn't an Alpharetta ordinance. Trust me, Alpharetta's ordinance is way bigger than this. This isn't a Woodstock ordinance. We didn't do that. This is a Warner Robins ordinance. And that's a big part of why Tiffany was as heavily involved as she was, because we wanted it to be the right fit for a Middle Georgia community. A Middle Georgia community is very different from a Metro Atlanta community, right? Just because I take lessons from other communities I've been in, I don't just take ordinances and try to play them here. It's a different community.
I need to give me a timeline. You gave me a plan. We're going to plan commission, and then it's going to come back to us. So I want a timeline.
Well, it depends on what the planning commission does. The game plan would be where's Darren? Darren, can we still get on the October planning commission? So it would still be on the October planning commission. Assuming the planning commission recommends approval, then we would look at what feedback we got, what tweaks we may think are important to bring forward, and then we would bring it forward. It could be as early as late October, it could be November. Our goal is to have something adopted before the end of the year. And that's based, quite honestly, gentlemen, on y'all's interest and requests to get our standards raised.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other comments from council? Yeah.
I was just going to say, we have some really nice developments in Houston County and Warner Robins in particular. And I think those are results of some of our local builders and developers, committing to the aesthetics of landscaping and especially with trees. And I've seen some tremendous work in this area. And I hope that I want to ask those people to come to the table as we have hearings and coming up here really soon. I'm going to ask those people to come to the table and present a lot of what they've already done, and how beneficial it is, because it just, a lot of the stuff that I see that looks like trash is that from mostly outside developers that are coming in here, and they're building to the smallest square feet minimum. They're wanting the R4, 3 zone and whatever, and they're just wanting to get some junk up and move on and make the profit. So hopefully, I want to challenge our local people to come because they are very good at this already, and hopefully they can get involved.
Thank you. Well, the takeaway, thank you both for that. The takeaway from the tree preservation replacement and landscape standards that we discussed today is that the document is a starting point. It's not in its final form. It's going to go through planning and zoning. We're going to listen to what the developers and construction professionals in our community are saying to us. Recommendations will be made. At the end of the day, we'll consider what needs to be considered for the final document. So just keep that in mind. All right, well, we're going to move on now because we wanted to make sure we had time to discuss this, but we do need to move on because we're trying to make sure we always start the rest of our stuff by around 5:30, give or take a little. So the next thing is going to be the announcements. I do have a few announcements to share with you, so get your phone out, make your notes. I'm going to go through them quickly so we can move on to the proclamations, awards, and presentations. All right, so we have Georgia Reads Day coming up on September the 22nd. There is a program that'll take place at the Eno Lab in Warner Robins from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Georgia Reads Day is a statewide initiative promoting literacy and community engagement. A lot of activities will be planned at the Eno Lab. The target audience is going to be elementary and middle school students, also educators and families, civic leaders, community partners, and there will be really cool activities utilizing the different sections we have in our Eno Lab. Like podcasting, so your storytelling through podcasting. We'll have some things with our AR and VR technology, all connecting to reading. I think there are 6 different unique stations. It's not just sitting there reading a book. This is something to really spark creativity. So this is going to be great. It's our first time doing this, so please come out and support us. We also have our food truck roundup, which will take place on September the 18th at Perkins Field. We'll be highlighting Big Brother and Big Sister. For this event, we'll be painting the town green. You see some of us in green in support of the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and individuals are here from that organization, including board members. The entertainment for the food truck roundup is going to be Cam Vance, which is a country performer, and he'll be performing throughout the evening, so come see Cam Vance. Next is Warner Robins Burger Week. That's going to be September the 19th through the 28th. You probably have heard all about it. Make sure you check out the city app to see all the activities taking place in our great city and participate in Burger Week, supporting local businesses. The Fall Shred Day, I just had somebody ask about where can you get things shredded for free. I think it was Genesis Joy House. So if anybody knows them, please tell them that we have Fall Shred Day coming Friday, September the 26th. So get all of your stack of old mail that you never opened that's in the corner, bring it, because it's free. Friday, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Happy Hour parking lot, which is behind us. It's on North Young Avenue at Maple Street. Again, check out our app. Oh, there is a limit of 3 boxes. How big can the boxes be? Because, we have the really big boxes. Because we don't want people to come and then we tell them they can't shred. What is a banker box for people that don't know?
Like a standard size.
Standard size to me.
Yeah.
So it's about yay by yay, right? It's what, think about a standard file. It's about the width of a standard file.
Okay.
And you can usually fit, I don't know, about 100 of them in there.
Is it one that has the handles in it?
On the sides, yeah, you punch the handles in.
Okay, so our Amazon boxes won't work? 'Cause I I have some pretty big ones of those.
If they're small enough.
Okay. All right, so you guys pay attention to the box size. Don't get mad if you can't use it. Just take out the stuff that you can shred that. All right. All right, and I think that's going to conclude the announcements we have right now. Moving on to proclamations, awards, and presentations. We did get some new queens that were crowned this weekend, representing the city of Warner Robins, International City, and Houston County Teen. So congratulations to all of our queens. Their names are on our city website, I think, on our socials, I believe. If not, then check tomorrow, we'll have it out there. But you can always follow the Miss Warner Robins Scholarship Organization, and they'll have all of our new queens listed. All right, so proclamations, awards, and presentations. We have some individuals patiently waiting for us to get to this moment. The first proclamation up is going to be Constitution Week. Then we're doing a proclamation for Sweary, also one for Big Brother, Big Sisters Month. A presentation by Sunmark Bank, a presentation for the 14th Annual Cardiac Car Show, and finally, the Employee Service Awards. So we're going to be moving people in and out as quickly as possible from right here in front of me as we read proclamations, hear presentations, take photos, and then we get down to the rest of the city business, okay?
Mayor, have we out of work?
Yes, sir, we are officially out of work session and back to the official meeting. But if you need to take a break, you can do it. Okay? Yes, sir, thanks. All right. Anyone here to accept the Constitution Week, please come forward here. All right. Good evening, ladies. I believe we have the Daughters of the American Revolution who are here, our local chapter, which, tell me the name of your chapter again.
It's called Suki Hart.
Suki Hart. Yes, you've been here a few times, and we've come to see you too. So thank you all for being here. I'll quickly read this Constitution Week proclamation to you. All right, Constitution Week is September the 17th through the 23rd, 2025. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. And now, therefore, I, LaRonda Patrick, Mayor of Warner Robins, on behalf of City Council and the citizens of Warner Robins, do hereby proclaim the week of September the 17th through 23rd, 2025, as Constitution Week in the city of Warner Robins. I urge all citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by diligently protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties. So let's give a round of applause for Constitution Week officially being declared in Warner Robins. All right, next up is a proclamation for Sweary. So individuals here to accept this proclamation, if you'll please come forward, stand here. All right, so SWRI stands for the Southwest Research Institute. And this proclamation is honoring the Southwest Research Institute's historic investment in the city of Warner Robins, Georgia. So recently, SWRI did a ribbon cutting on a new facility that they built here in Warner Robins, a major investment into our community. So this proclamation is special just for you all. So thank you for coming so we could do this for you. It states, whereas on August 20th, 2025, the city of Warner Robins and the state of Georgia celebrated a milestone as Southwest Research Institute opened its first ever owned facility outside the state of Texas, expanding upon its long-term standing presence in our community by purchasing more than 8 acres and establishing its deep roots here in Warner Robins. And whereas this 33,000 square foot, $18.5 million facility houses more than 50 highly skilled professionals working on advanced aerospace and defense technologies, including electronic warfare, automatic test systems, instrumentation, and software that directly support the mission of the United States Air Force. And whereas, located just 3 miles from Robins Air Force Base, SWRI strengthens the critical partnership with Warner Robins Air Logistics Complex, sustaining and advancing aircraft vital to America's air power, such as the F-15, C-130, C-17, and C-5, while ensuring Warner Robins remains a strategic ally in national defense. And whereas this investment creates local jobs, fosters innovation, positions Warner Robins as a hub for high-tech talent, and inspires future generations through opportunities in STEM education while advancing SWRI's mission that reaches from deep sea to deep space, and that is trademarked. I'll say it again, deep sea to deep space. That is their saying that they came up with a new chapter written here in Warner Robins. Now, therefore, I, Rhonda Patrick, on behalf of City Council and its citizens, do hereby proclaim our deepest appreciation and recognition of Southwest Research Institute's investment in Warner Robins as a historic and transformative moment for our city, our state, and our nation. So be it proclaimed. Congratulations and thank you so much for what you have done here with your investment in our great city. We hope that we make you proud to have this as your first location outside of Texas, because you certainly have already made us proud. So let's give them a round of applause and congratulate them. Oh, okay. All right, next up is a proclamation for Big Brothers, Big Sisters Month. If individuals here with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, if you would please come forward. Awesome, okay. So we're wearing green for Big Brothers Big Sisters. We are proud supporters of your program. Thanks for the impact you make for children across our community. So here's a proclamation. Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, September 2025. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Heart of Georgia has served children and families in Warner Robins, Houston County, and across Central Georgia for decades, providing caring, one-to-one mentoring relationships that change lives for the better and forever. And whereas Mentoring Works Youth and Big Brothers Big Sister programs demonstrate life-changing outcomes. 95% of littles plan to graduate high school, and the majority plan to attend college. I'm telling you why mentoring works right now. Another, littles show measurable academic progress, including a 28% increase in A's and a 17% decline in D's and F's. And over 99% of littles remained free of arrests or juvenile justice contact. Littles report a 20% reduction in depressive symptoms, stronger coping skills, and more hopeful views of their future. And littles are 20% more likely to enroll in college, earn 15% more income between the ages of 20 and 25, and experience economic mobility that helps close the socioeconomic gap. And whereas the impact of mentorship grows stronger over time, youth in long-term matches with a big brother or big sister consistently show greater self-control, reduce bullying behaviors, and improve social competence. And whereas the success of Big Brother Big Sisters is made possible through strong community partnerships, including the countless volunteers from Robins Air Force Base who have selflessly served youth and teens, igniting their potential, strengthening their resilience, and inspiring them to dream bigger. And whereas the City of Warner Robins proudly recognizes the dedicated mentors, volunteers, families, and community partners who make the work of Big Brothers Big Sister possible, and acknowledges that together we are stronger when every child has the opportunity to reach their full potential. And now, therefore, I, LaRonda Patrick, Mayor of Warner Robins, on behalf of council and the citizens of our great city, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as Big Brothers Big Sisters Month in Warner Robins. I call upon all citizens to join in celebrating the mentors and supporters who empower our young people, strengthen our families, and build a brighter future for our community. So let's congratulate these individuals for officially having Big Brothers Big Sisters Month in Warner Robins. All right, now we have a presentation by Sunmark Bank. Anyone here from Sunmark? If you'll please come forward, and you can come get the mic.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Bree Knowles, Marketing Director at Sunmark Community Bank. I had the privilege of meeting with the mayor and Brian Wise right here to hear more about the Haven Hope House initiative that y'all are kicking off. I knew as soon as I heard the mission that I wanted Sunmark to be a part of this. So we have what's called our Casual Cause at Sunmark, where employees pay money to wear jeans on Payday Friday, and then we choose a good cause to support. So of course, I wanted to partner with them on Haven Hope House. So we gave a $300 donation from Casual Cause, and then on top of that, gave an additional $700 from Sunmark as a donation, in a total of $1,000 to give to Haven Hope House. So we are proud to support.
All right, now we have a presentation for the 14th Annual Cardiac Car Show. So please come forward.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. Everybody come on up. I'm Cynthia Malone, co-founder of Chipping Away at Heart Disease, and hello again. I do understand that having green spaces will help us with living trees to reduce the risk of heart disease. So we're looking forward to that. I keep my eyes and ears open for that. I love that. Councilman Mack, you know, he used to go out on scouting tours. And when we were on the road to state, he would say what we would do is we would forecast. So we would go and watch teams that were outside of the region. We were at Carver Columbus, and Councilman Bibb, you know, there's always one in the crowd. You wouldn't know anything about that. There's always one in the crowd, and this particular young man came up and he said, well, you that coach from Warner Robins. Well, it wasn't hard to understand that. He was wearing the colors in the Rockin' R. And he said, yes. He said, so you came to see what we got. And Chip never looked up. He said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to follow the lead. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to follow a good lead. I had a lead on a group, and I was scouting them, you know. Chip said, I heard that you guys were playing ball over here, so I came to see what you got. And basically, we followed them, followed a trip in, Savannah. And the tip to me was this. When we would sit there, somebody would say, see number 5? That's our point guard. He can't go to his right. Now over there, that's our big man. He can't play with his back to the basket. We would leave at the end of third quarter because the opponent's fans would give Chip the scouting report. And what I thought about that is if he's going to forecast and if he's going to pay attention to the people who watch and who know and who see you in the community and know that you're doing big things in the community, those are the people you're going to want to follow. You're going to want to follow a good lead. So I would like to take this opportunity to tell you all that on the first Saturday in November, we're going to have the 14th Annual Cardiac Car Show. Chip saw 3. He had the opportunity to get us kick-started, to have a health initiative, and he wanted to be in the city. My mom used to say, don't forget where you come from. We haven't moved the Cardiac Car Show because of the success and the support of the citizens, mayor and council. We can't say enough. And we got some fine people helping us out this year. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to the International City Corvette Club, IC3, and their president, Johnny Johnson.
Mayor, councilman, I want to thank y'all. I know y'all always look out for us. I want to say y'all doing a good job in the city. On November 1st, get ready for the city to get turned out. Because we're going to do some things.
Who's got the fastest vet?
We all do. I'm going to say we all do.
I think she does.
I will say this, though. We had a Corvette event, and I'm going to be short and brief. We had a Corvette event. We had probably 150 vets at Buffalo Wild Wings in Warner Robins. We had 150 vets. So we're looking forward. This is an all-car show. Councilman, y'all can bring y'all trucks, your cars. We ain't gonna turn nobody down. So I expect to see y'all with your vehicles. Don't park in the back, then try not to get in the show. Because I want to collect y'all $25 too. But truly, everybody call me JJ, and I just want to introduce you to my all-star team. I brought a legal guy here with me also, just in case we say the wrong thing. But no, this is Jay Stewart, her husband Craig, the vice president, Big Dog, and Wheels. And we've been doing this for a while, so we just want to say thank you, and we will represent the city well.
And JJ, I want to say that, JJ, I want to say William Martin has been advocating for you guys on base big time in Building 125. JJ. William Martin.
I get the pleasure of seeing Mr. Wheels' Corvette a lot. He drives by my house real slow because he knows I love Corvettes.
Charlie has a Corvette in his future. Yes.
What would the neighbors say?
Nope. Employee service. All right. Next, we have the Employee Service Awards. Ms. Melanie Byer, if you'll please come up so we can quickly go through these 4.
There's our first. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 employees that we're having service awards for this evening. We're going to start with Mr. Bobby Thomas. He is our grounds maintenance superintendent with our Public Works Department with 15 years of service. All right, next we have Mr. Alton Tucker. He's our field operations superintendent in our Public Works Department, also with 15 years of service. All right, next, the mayor introduced me when I came up. My name is Melanie Byer, and I'm the Director of Human Resources. And I'm proud to say that I've worked with the city for 20 years this month. So the next award is for me. All right, and we have one more employee this evening. There's hijinks going on up here. Mr. Greg Martin is with our police department, police officer with our police department, and he has 25 years of service with us tonight.
That's the dancing elf.
All right, so we made it through that fun segment. Now down to business. And it is 6:14. Okay, now down to business. I now call for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor, I move we adopt the agenda as written.
Mayor, may I make
There's a motion on the floor.
I would like to see if I can amend the agenda in item 3C.
So point of order. There's a motion on the floor. So if the motion dies, then you can say something, or you can have discussion after there's a motion, if there's a motion. Or the person making the motion can withdraw it.
I'd like to withdraw my motion and allow Councilman Mack to make a recommendation.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Lawrenson. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to remove item 3C from the consent agenda and make it its own separate line item.
Mayor, I'd like to move to adopt the agenda with the removal.
There's a motion on the floor, but there hasn't been a second yet. So okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the agenda. Now we will have to get a vote to see if council agrees to amend that item to make it a separate item. There's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of amending the agenda as requested, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries. All right, so now, again, I will ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move to adopt the agenda as just mentioned, with the removal of 3C to its own separate item. So that's the motion on the floor.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Bibb. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion, opposers the same. Okay, motion carries. Okay, now on to number 2, which is time for formal public comments pertaining to current agenda items only. If there is someone here that'd like to make a statement, ask a question, or have a concern about item number 3 through 8 only, you can approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes on the clock. Please note that neither council nor I will respond to you, but we are listening. Please state your name and address for the record. If you have a comment about anything other than item 3 through 8 on the agenda, then you will have another opportunity to speak. The floor is open. Going once, going twice. The floor is now closed. Okay, now we're to the consent agenda to be discussed by Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Item A, September 2, 2025 meeting minutes. B, home occupation permits. Resolution Motorola Solutions. Resolution FirstNet AT&T. Resolution 2025 Safety and Liability Grant, Management Grant, and Purchasing, which then in its entirety can be seen in the package online.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Mack, seconded by Councilman Bibb. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Okay, motion carries. On to item number 4, an ordinance for Chapter 4, Article 2, amendment to be discussed by Councilman Bibb.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion to approve the ordinance to the amendment, Chapter 4, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Warner Robins relating to the regulation of alcohol beverages, and I would like to waive the second reading.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Bibb, waiving the second reading, seconded by Councilman Mack. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 5 is a resolution for a memorandum of agreement for GDOT to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have before me a motion to bring to you to approve the resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute the attached memorandum of agreement by and between the Georgia Department of Transportation, an agency of the state of Georgia, department, and the City of Warner Robins City, summarizing the installation of roadway improvements at the Alberta Road Railroad crossing, more particularly described as CS 1218 Alberta Road at Railroad Milepost 12.92, G, located within the City of Warner Robins. Again, I move for the adoption.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 6 is a resolution to authorize the filing of condemnation orders to be discussed by Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the resolution of Mayor and Council of the City of Warner Robins hereby authorize the City Attorney's Office to petition Houston County Superior Court to exercise the power of eminent domain under existing law of State of Georgia in accordance with the provision of Official Code of Georgia annotated in 46-4-96. This acquisition is required and necessary as part of the Pleasant Hill Sidewalk Adoption Project, consisting of 910 square feet of tract to be acquired as right-of-way and 715 square feet tract to be used as a temporary easement. Said property is located at the corner of Shirley Drive and the 300 block of South Pleasant Hill Road.
Second that.
Motion by Councilman Curtis, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to point out that this project is really great, and it's been, I know we plan on widening it, but I think this is going to be even better. Thank y'all for doing it.
I would like to point out that the city has done everything possible to get in touch with this homeowner, and this is the last result, and we're moving forward with this project.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 7, a resolution for a master development agreement to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion to approve the resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute the attached master development agreement by and between the City of Warner Robins and the Warner Robins Development Authority, DBA, Engage Warner Robins, transferring city-owned properties to Engage and to effectuate all purposes contemplated in the master agreement and the amendment to add properties subject to the master development agreement.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Bibb. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8 is a resolution for flock safety platform to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute the attached agreement between Flock Group Incorporated, known as Flock, and the City of Warner Robins Police Department, known as PD, acknowledging the terms and conditions of the billing schedule, hardware and software products, and professional services as outlined in the Flock Safety Order form.
I second.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I could, I'd like to point out that this action will result in annual savings of approximately $126,000.
Thank you. Saving money while making our city even more safe is always a win. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9 is employee promotions to be discussed by Councilman Bibb.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hold up, let me collect myself for a minute. Okay, thank you. I make a motion that we promote Andre Grace, promoted from Fire Lieutenant, Job Class 524, Grade 18, Fire Department, to the Training and Safety Officer, Job Class 528, Grade 20, Fire Department, to be effective September 15, 2025.
And I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Bibb, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor. I just wanted to discuss this item as in association with the growing concern and or conversation with cost of living raises across the whole as a whole, and how it impacts the entire morale of the city when we promote few, which outweighs the need of many, especially with the inflation and cost of living as it's skyrocketing. And I want to know where are we missing the number with our cost of living in its entirety, our cost of living raises? What is it that we need? Because to me, I'm just one person, just wanted to have the discussion. How does it look for us to promote one when we tell the rest that there can be no raises across the board as the city? Because it seems like the needs of a few outweigh the needs of many.
So the motion is for a promotion for one of our firemen to get a new position due to somebody retiring. This isn't talking about raises for city employees. This is just a earned promotion. Any further discussion?
Mayor, I'd just like to make a suggestion that maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe all of us get together, have a work session, and hammer out a few things. So I'm going to make a suggestion based on this, that we could do that maybe in the next couple months.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we have concluded the numbered items of our agenda. Now it's down to citizen comments. All right, so the next person to go first, citizens' comments. So anyone who has a comment about anything in general, you can approach the podium. Make sure you state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes on the clock. Please note that neither council nor I will respond to you, but we are listening to you. So the door is now open for citizen comments.
We do have the officer that was the fireman that was promoted in here, if we'd like to get a picture.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I ask you all to remind me every time. Thank you for doing that. The I think we had one promotion on the agenda. So the individual who did receive that promotion, if you'll please come forward so that we can congratulate you. All right, Chief and Fire who are here with him, you may come forward for a photo. And yeah. Any other fire coming up for a photo? Congratulations. All right, now we're ready for citizen comments. The floor is now open for any comments that need to be made.
How y'all doing? My name is Tim Burgle. I live at 202 Spanish Trail. Here's a rhetorical question that I think everybody's asked themselves at some point along the way over the years, and that is, if someone wanted to open a small business that was heavily dependent on foot traffic, where in Warner Robins would be the best place to put it? Just a rhetorical question. Park that in your brain for just a second. The other observation that I noticed over the last couple of years, just coming to meetings and listening, is a lot of times I hear people talking about access. When we're building a new shopping center, a new residential, whatever it is, I hear the word access. What I don't hear is the word connectivity, which I think is the more accurate word for what we need. Connectivity gets to more at a qualitative experience, not just a quantitative. So we need to think about how our developments connect us to each other. And yeah, they need to be buffered sometimes, but every development is a snowflake. So everything is going to be a little bit different, but we should get our minds wrapped around the idea of connectivity. So this is the RATS 2050 plan. The public comment period is open through September 24th. Of course, all of you knew that. And there actually are some rays of sunshine in this. In fact, the apparent commitment to complete streets means that we might be actually kind of dipping our toe into the 21st century, which is progress. In particular, I want to call your attention to 3 projects, Project ID 165, 166, and 167. Together, they create a 3-mile loop. All of them are road diets, road reconfigurations, sometimes called a road optimization. So if you think of Fagan Mill is a 2-lane road with a middle turn lane. That is a more efficient, safer way to move traffic than a 4-lane road and no middle turn lane. So these 3 projects, one of them is Green Street from Myrtle to North Houston. The second is North Houston down to Watson. And the third is North Davis from Green Street down into Commercial Circle, very important. These 3 are all road diets. And by performing road diets on these 3 roads, we're going to free up about 10 feet of space on each of them, which would give space for a protected micro-mobility lane. I don't say just a bike lane. Yes, it's a bike lane, but it's also an e-bike lane, a scooter lane, roller blades, roller skates, one-wheel, skateboards, pogo sticks, wheelchairs, motorized wheelchairs. You get the idea, right? It's all of those things. So this is connectivity that we're adding to the community. These projects are quoted at projected for $3.5 million, which represents only 0.5% of the $655 million projected RATS expenses until 2050. 3 minutes is really hard. So if we take a tactical urbanist approach, we could probably do these for a lot less. These would serve over 12,000 people, and even the Middle Georgia Regional Commission is recommending these. I'm going to close with one final thought. It's good that these projects exist in our plans, but we need to pull them forward. We need to pull them forward. We probably need to complete them in the next 36 months. I know we're serious about Operation Reawaken, but we can't let our transportation planning be asleep at the wheel while we try to conduct something like Operation Reawaken. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burgle. Would there be anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Dr. David Anthony Clark. I live at 130 Spring Chase Circle in Kathleen, Georgia. I pastor the Union Grove Missionary Baptist Church at 809 South Davis Drive here in Warner Robins, Georgia. And I wanted to announce that this month we are celebrating our 138th church anniversary at Union Grove. And I just felt compelled to come tonight and thank Mayor and Council for continuing the great friendship and partnership that Union Grove has had with the city of Warner Robins down through the years. Because of this great partnership and friendship between the city of Warner Robins and the Union Grove Missionary Baptist Church, God has blessed us to be able to impact the community the way that we have, and I envision us continuing that legacy through such a great friendship and partnership. So thank you, Mayor Patrick, Council, and thank you to the citizens of Warner Robins for your friendliness and encouragement and support to the Union Grove family down through the years. We thank God for you, and I pray that we'll continue to be a blessing to the Warner Robins community and the Houston County at large. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Pastor Clark, and congratulations on your anniversary. All right, will there be any others?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Keith Newton, representing Newton Development, 3528 Highway 41 North, Suite B, Byron, Georgia. Just wanted to do two things tonight. One, my understanding, the way the ordinances are, and we've been doing this probably close to 30 years, and when we go to rezone as a developer, rezone a piece of property, we get it rezoned, we always have to come back and have a preliminary plat submit before we ever move to the next level of development. So you get your property ready, make it marketable to someone to purchase. That person comes in, gives a full conceptual of what they want to accomplish. Then the Planning and Zoning Commission meets on it. Then you go to the engineering process. So there are, in my understanding, there's always been checks and balances on the rezoning side, annexation and rezoning. Now we'll go to the tree ordinance or whatever. I want to thank Mr. Drinkard and Tiffany. 32 pages is unbelievable. It's awesome. We support a tree ordinance 100%, but it's a level that we can support it. Warner Robins has been here around over 80 years. We've never had one. Granted, we need one. I'll stand up here and tell you we want one. But at the level this is at now is not obtainable to us and the builders, my customers. What I would suggest, what I would love to do, is sit down with Mr. Drinkard, Tiffany, get a builder, get a developer, need a commercial real estate person that understands what outside people are looking for and what they can do. Get an engineer involved. Let's sit down at the table, let's work this out. We may not could get to this level first time, but let's start this path going forward. And let's step by step get there. And I'm available after lunch tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and after church on Sunday. Because I care about this community. I love working in Warner Robins. I want to be a part of the community. We just ask to please, let's sit down at the table, not at a zoning meeting where you're talking back and forth. Let's craft something that the city needs and what we can do, let's work together and figure it out. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Newton.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to speak. I don't want to be so redundant. I'm Mick Driggers with Driggers Construction in Middle Georgia, 122 Clover Hill Drive. Born and raised here at Warner Robins Hospital down the street. Been building over 25 years, successfully completed 1,640 homes and counting. Again, try not to be redundant from what Mr. Newton said. I'm one of the builders in his subdivision. Just really want the same thing that Keith wants. Is basically just a time to be able to sit down at a meeting around a table and discuss a more reasonable tree ordinance. And again, just the ordinance in the 32 pages that I read would be difficult as a builder, more difficult as a developer. So just an opportunity to have some say-so in the project, and to be a part of the conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Driggers. Will there be any others?
Thank you. I'm David McCrory at 2517 Highway 41, and I concur with what they're saying, and from the engineering perspective, being an engineer, not necessarily in the civil design world, but there are a lot of considerations when I talk with these civil engineers that probably haven't been considered. There's grading requirements, cut, fill, drainage issues, storm, erosion, the whole gamut. And I would urge, they've done a fine job, but I would urge them to attempt to take some input from folks that have to deal with those constraints in the overall of putting together a beautiful subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCrory. Will there be any others? Going once, going twice, the door is now closed. Thank you all so much for sharing your comments. We certainly understand your perspectives, and we will look into all the things that you have suggested. All right, next we have council comments. So we'll be starting with Councilman Bibb.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, sounds like we got a lot of work to do. Love it. We're going to put our feet to the ground and march forward and get this done. It sounds like that we're all headed in the right direction, and so let's head that way. I do want to reiterate, Mayor, if we could get together sometime soon and really put that together so we can sit down and have maybe a work session and hammer some things out a little bit, talk some things through. And I think that would be helpful to us. God bless you, and y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Tim, I like what you said, and I know I've heard you speak before, but I think we need a connectivity czar, and I think you'd be good at it. There's a lot of complications involved, but when it's all said and done, I think that's something that we really aspire to do. Absolutely. And just talking to even some local developers about walkable communities and plans for developments and things, much like Commercial Circle and some of the other areas of town that are becoming more populated. I think we need to do everything we can to make that happen, whether it's trails, connecting various parts of town, walkable trails. Of course, we're always interested in doing more sidewalks anywhere we can. That's beneficial. So thank you for your input on all of that. Pastor Clark, is he still here? Hey, man, that's unbelievable. And I know our community is relatively young. I mean, we're babies as history is concerned. I think when we formed, was it 40? When did we come to Warner Robins? 43. And so that church was here way before Warner Robins. I mean, is there a book of history available? I would love to read that. I'd love to talk to you afterwards. That's so interesting. And anything that about the history of this area is certainly very interesting. And my degree was actually in history, so I'm really interested in anything historical. And that sounds like one of the oldest developments here in our community. I've heard a little bit of the history of it before, but very interested in it. But thank you for sharing that tonight. I really think that as far as the tree ordinance goes, I do think it would be wise to listen to some local, and possibly engineers, developers, and things. I know we can have a hearing. A hearing is a great thing. Sometimes in a hearing, you're going to get a certain amount of time to speak, and I don't know if that hearing is really going to create a doing. And so I really think we need to do something that would not just allow people to be heard, but to be able to be a part of the process and really, I'm not saying change the whole thing. I hope we can come to an agreement on some things that would be important and still accomplish what we want to accomplish. And by having more eyes and looking at it, I think that we could look for certain things that might be unnecessary and still be able to accomplish our goals. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. And Mayor, I think that's all I have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Of course, I'd like to start by last week with the anniversary of 9/11. I know I will always remember that. It's a very weird thing for me because I met my wife at a Georgia game the weekend before that. So I never forget the very first day I met my wife, and I'll never forget that day as long as I live, which also reminds me every year that football season is great because we were at a Georgia game. We did lose that time, but that was, I think, one of the last times we lost to that team. And but then just remembering those that lost their lives, what it meant to our country, what it did to our country, and how we were galvanized as one. Just remembering that and remembering the love that we all showed each other, which needs to happen a whole lot more. Speaking of love, my first love was my kids' athletics. This weekend, big time, there are 59 teams coming to Houston County to compete in a cheer competition. Gates will open around 8:10 in the morning. I think first team comes on a little bit after that. Every single middle school and high school in our county is competing at this event. We've got teams coming from way up north Georgia, way down south Georgia, west and east. This is the largest event that we've hosted in the history, and I think it's one of the larger ones in the state. I do know there's a couple in Atlanta area that'll have about 60 plus, but 59 teams. To get in, it's $10. It's well worth it. The where part. It's at the new gym at Houston County High School out there off of 96. You can't miss it, but if you've never seen anything like it, it is worth going to see. It's nonstop, it's high energy, a lot of amazing skills that you get to see these kids do that they, cheer kind of is like most of these other sports that are like that. They kind of operate in their own little world and most people don't get to see it, but here's your chance. Come out and support. Every school in this county is competing there, so you all have somebody that goes to school here somewhere, I'm sure. So go out, support your favorite team, and cheer for them all. It's a lot of fun. You'll love it. You'll be amazed by what you see there, too. Other than that, I hope everybody else has a great week. I would be remiss if I didn't say happy birthday to my youngest daughter, Eden. I now have all teenagers in the house. So, yeah. Pray for me and my wife, because we need it every day, every hour, every minute. So, but no, seriously, they're great kids, but I'm getting old. So I have all teenagers. So, I've been outnumbered my whole life, so it's all right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I'd like to I'm going to sneak this in real quick because I forgot to say it.
But we don't really celebrate things like this a whole lot. We just look at each other and say, we're still here. But my wife and I, we just had our anniversary. So, yeah, 22. Yep. She has tolerated me for 22 years. So, yeah.
Again, thank you for the opportunity. Madam Mayor, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the individuals that received awards tonight, their pins, 15, 20, 25-year pins. Pastor Clark, 100 years. And if you haven't been to the church, I'm going to invite them to your church, along with mine also. But all of the church pastors here, if you get an opportunity, travel around and visit. There's some good things going on in this community. We see them, sometimes we hear about them and don't see them. So if you get an opportunity to do that, again, those individuals that received awards tonight, and of course the mayor gave us a number of dates to be cognizant of, and those of us that can make those engagements, just reach out and do that. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to say that I'm happy to be back. I somewhat miss you guys. But Union Grove Baptist Church, you know, I actually grew up across the street from Union Grove. I mean, that's a pillar in our community. It kept us safe. It was a safe haven for us, and it was just a great place to be. So thank you for keeping that legacy going, Pastor Clark. Talking about the history of Warner Robins, well, first let me say, September 11th, I can remember where I was too. Robins Air Force Base, building 640. The first time I ever seen those big TVs come on, and they showed those planes hitting the towers. That was a moment, a big moment for America. But also, I just want to bring to your attention on this day, September the 15th, 1963, and if I could say their names, 4 little girls. Annie Mae Collins, 14 years old. Denise McNair, 11 years old. Carol Robinson, 14 years old. And Cynthia Wesley, 14 years old. So if you don't know those 4 names, I suggest that you go out and learn about those 4 little girls. Again, I think everybody else has said it. Congratulations to everybody who received promotions tonight, the service awards, and again, I am happy to be back, and I'm looking forward to the things that we will be doing in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to echo what everyone said about the anniversary of 9/11. The emotions that everybody, it taps into everyone's emotions and their heartstrings. But if you have not visited Ground Zero in person, I've been there like 4 times, if you think your heartstrings are pulled just talking about it, to go there and to go underground and to see the museum there and where those buildings stood, NYC Strong. Every time I see a New York City police officer, I congratulate them and the fire department. I congratulate them and just tell them how proud their nation is for the services they provide to one of the busiest cities in the country, and how they jumped right in without even thinking about themselves. And a lot of people died after the fact, cleaning up that mess that happened there. And I'm just, as I think about walking through the museum, it just resonates with me in a way that has never tugged at my heartstrings before. So if you get a chance to go to New York City, make sure you go to Ground Zero and see that. It's something you will never forget the rest of your life. As far as Union Grove, I'm a product of Union Grove. When we first moved here from New York, I had family members that were here that were members. Union Grove has been a staple in this community. It was a hub for the African American community before this city even came to be. And if it were not for Union Grove Baptist Church and all the energy and time they put into our youth with all the vacation Bible schools and all the ministers and people that volunteered at Union Grove that I really don't see with the same amount of energy that I did back then. They made a lot of us who we are. A lot of the kids that are adults now are product of Union Grove Baptist Church. And thank you for your pastoralship, Pastor Clark. I was there when Bobby L. Smith was the pastor, and we're still in touch with him today. It's a legacy, like Councilman Curtis said, and thank you for your service in that capacity. And also, I just want to say, and thank you to our mayor. I just want to remind everybody that we're in the middle of an election cycle, and early voting is going to be soon, and if you're not registered to vote, register to vote. And I just want to thank her for her turn-the-curve thinking, transformational approach to mitigating unforeseen issues that arise in our city. And you've like I said, you've had a vision that's pushed our city beyond all boundaries of the past, and I just want to say thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you to all the councilmen for your partnership and the progress we're doing together. All right, so my comments are reserved until after executive session. So if we could have a motion to exit for executive session for real estate, let's do that now.
Mayor, I move to go into executive session for real estate.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Bibb. All in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, we're exiting for a brief executive session to discuss real estate. We are not sure if action will be made upon completion of executive session. You're welcome to stand around and wait if you'd like, but mostly everything is already complete. So feel free to go home and start your evening and dinner plans. We'll see you at the first meeting in the